Hello, my name is Justin Johnston and I'm the developer of Feathur. Today I'm going to go over how to install an OpenVZ slave server. The first thing you're going to need is a CentOS 6 physical hardware node, preferably with 64-bit installed. Aside from that, some basic Linux knowledge, and we'll go ahead and get started. In the description below, you'll see a link to our GitHub. You should be able to find the command you need to run on your server there. Go ahead and copy that. And you're going to go ahead and paste into your server. I already have a copy downloaded, so I'm going to go ahead and type in a quick command here. Now it's going to go ahead and update some packages, download the OpenVZ kernel, set up your IP tables, and go ahead and set up a copy of Feathur's Uptime Manager. All of this should take about 30 to 45 seconds, depending on your server. Obviously, this can take longer if you're running it in a VM like I am. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let the installer run, and I'll start it back up here in a moment when it's done downloading everything. Alright, so the installer took me about 10 minutes. I'm obviously running it on a VM instead of an actual node at this point, so yours should take significantly shorter. The first thing you're going to notice after the install finishes is that you will have a RSA private key. Go ahead and copy that key. You're going to need it later when we go ahead and add this server to Feathur. Now the next thing you're going to want to do is paste that in a text document somewhere. So as an example, I will open up Notepad++ and we'll go ahead and save that. Sorry. And just go ahead and save that for future reference. Alright. Next thing you're going to need to do is go ahead and edit execgrub.conf. So in my case I like to use Vim. And the only thing you're going to check is that OpenVZ is the first kernel listed in this file. So as an example, if it said CentOS 2.6.32 blah blah blah, then you would need to update it so that the default number is the number down it is. Linux starts at 0, so count up from there. So as an example, if OpenVZ was listed here instead, you'd put a 1 for the default and save the file. Most of the time this is accurate. The way we install it, it should go ahead and update the default on its own. So we're going to go ahead and quit out of this file because there's no changes that need to be made. The next thing you're going to need to do is go ahead and shut down the server and restart it. So go ahead and do that. And it should take 2 to 5 minutes depending on your server. I'm going to go ahead and pause it and wait for my server to come back online. Alright, so the server finished rebooting. I normally like to go ahead and check and make sure that everything's installed correctly, just as a safety precaution. Don't want to give users a bad VPS, do we? That said, there are two methods you can use to go ahead and check that OpenVZ is running correctly on the node. The first way to do that is go ahead and type in uname tac-a, and it should go ahead and list a 2.6.32 kernel. Newer versions of Linux will run 3.6 or somewhere in that range. So OpenVZ is always a little bit behind. That said, the other method you can use is to go ahead and type in vz list tac-a. If for whatever reason the server isn't running OpenVZ correctly, it will go ahead and display errors that it can't connect to bean counters. It's pretty easy to determine. If not, it goes ahead and generates a list of all the VPS currently running on the server. In this case, we don't have any VPS on it, but at the same time, it confirms that OpenVZ is running correctly. You could probably skip this step, but for me, I like to check and make sure things are okay. Now, we're going to go ahead and log into Feathur, just as you normally would. And from there, you're going to go ahead and copy your RSA private key, if you don't already have it still in your paste. And you're going to go under Servers and click Add Server. From there, you're going to type in the name of the machine. So in my case, I'm going to type in test. You're going to punch in the IP address for that machine. So I can't remember the IP for this, so 1 second. Copy that and paste it into the box. You can also use DNS host names, so as an example, server1.mydomain.com or whatever floats your boat. Obviously, you have to set a DNS record for it outside of Feathur for it. Paste the SSH key in here. The default user is always going to be root, and if the status URL changes, go ahead and enter the box. Normally this is going to be left blank, and the location for wherever it's at. So there we go. Click the add server button. Alright, once you've clicked the button, you should be good to go on that front. The icon for the service status will remain red until Feathur is able to connect to the node. Normally takes about 1 minute for the cron to run. It's not that big of an issue. At this point, you should be able to go ahead and add VPS to the server and communicate with it normally via Feathur. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us via our support channels. Have a great day.